Connor Evans, welcome to the 1 Minute Barber Academy and this podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, Mike. I really appreciate it.
Well, Connor, like in the industry, you're quite a well-known figure. You run the Hot Heads media channel. And give us a little bit of introduction. Where did it all start? Where are you in the UK? And get just some background about yourself.
Okay, yeah, thanks for the really good introduction there. So, yeah, my name's Connor Evans, and I work out of a barber shop, which I own myself. It's called Men's Grooming Company in Coventry. So we're a salon located in the heart of the city centre, and I've now been working as a men's stylist slash barber for 13 years plus. And all of that has led me to where I am today, which is working in the shop and creating content for Hot Heads Media. And it's been a long journey, but an amazing journey at that. And thankfully, I've met some great people along the way, and I'm really starting to find my niche even 13 years into it, which I think now is Hot Heads Media. And I'm just loving every day, creating content. And yeah, that's about it, really.
Can I just ask you, going back to 13 years ago, were you working for someone else, or did the shop start 13 years ago?
So now I'm my third shop, but I started off, as most of us do, of my generation and above, in a hairdressing apprenticeship. So I went through 3 years as an apprentice and qualified as a hairdresser. But I always loved the short women's precision work rather than the colouring.
Okay.
So where I used to work, it would have been, I would have stayed at that, but I sort of had a bit of a falling out with the people I work with. And then I was never very good either at taking orders. You know, I would always go off on my own tangent. So I think that always led me down the path of opening my own shop. So at 18, I opened my first barbershop, and I was in there for about 3 years, and then I expanded again. And we had 2 small shops in Coventry city centre. They were probably half a mile away from each other. And they were only small units. They were maybe less than 50 square feet each. And that really, I learned a lot of lessons being in them small units. It was a struggle. Obviously, it was just me. And then I brought my brother in later when we opened up the second shop. And then a few years after having the 2, it got a little bit difficult with logistics. We were sending clients up and down. We were absolutely rammed. And I thought, right, this is the time we need to expand. So 7 years ago, we opened up Men's Grooming Company, and we've been thriving ever since, really.
You said that you had like difficulties with the smaller shops.
Yeah.
I mean, and you were sending clients back and forwards. I take it they were looking for a certain barber going backwards and forwards. But what other kind of difficulties would that pose to you with those shops?
It wasn't so much they were looking for a different barber. When I was coming up through the industry, there was only really the walk-in service available. So everyone waited for a haircut, and me and my brother, we trained at the same place. And then when I took him into one of my shops, we were working together. So we very much cut similar. So they didn't want to wait for me, and I knew my brother was not as busy, then I would send the clients down to him. So we could kind of had a back and forth, and it would be the same with him. If he got really busy and he knew I was quiet, he'd send the clients up. But both shops where we were didn't really have any waiting. And what I would call my second shop was a little TARDIS box in the middle of Coventry city centre. But no waiting. We had less than 50 square feet, and people were queuing round the corner in the pouring rain outside waiting for a haircut off me. So it was difficult. We had no running water. We had no toilets, no amenities. It was tough times, but I tell you what, it made me into the shop owner and barber I am today. So
do you think that experience made you realize what you really want in a shop?
At the time, I was lucky enough to start working for a few artistic teams, and I was lucky enough to be getting flown around Europe, and I even went to Vegas twice. And I was working from these two little small shops in Coventry city centre, go into these amazing establishments, and I came back always going, I need to do better. Well, not need to, I would love to do better. You know, one day if I can create something like that, an establishment where I have running water, that would be, you know, the next step in my career. So,
Connor, I've been to some salons in the city where I've walked in and I've thought, that front door is more than my entire net worth. You know, like there's some amazing places. Some salons are so big and they maybe have like 30 people working, maybe more. And it hurts my brain sometimes when you think of the scale of it. But I also think as well, this is where barbershops are fortunate, that when it gets that big, the risk is big. There's much more risk, you know. The economy can change, and then all of a sudden you have a lot of chairs in your salon, and the cost of running the business just changes. Much more complex the bigger it gets.
And the bigger the risk you take, well, the bigger the investment, the bigger the risk you take on anything, on anything really.
I've got to say, like, I mean, when I had two shops on the go, I had two shops 45 miles apart. I started to find that very difficult.
Have been logistically a nightmare.
Well, you're trying to be in two places at the same time, and it's difficult, very difficult. So you're in the men's grooming company now. What sort of service do you run there? What do you offer in there?
So we offer everything. We offer shaves to haircuts. We offer restyles, facials. Everything you could name it, we offer under one roof, really. You know, we're a premium men's grooming barbershop or men's salon, and you kind of, in my perspective, can't have a limited service. If you want to be a premium barbershop, you have to pretty much offer every service you can.
What does that mean for you in terms of training and getting everybody up to that level? Do you outsource the training or do you do it all in-house?
It means a lot of work is what it means. But
okay.
Thankfully, we've found a few stylists over the past couple of years who have good skills. So I've just been able to brush them up with a couple of new techniques and, you know, push them on their way. And it's hard for them not to gain a lot of experience, technique, and become a better barber while working around the barbers we already have in here.
Yeah.
But I think for going forward and the way the industry is at the minute, grassroots education is the way forward. We have every other barber in here I've taught myself. So we have 8-9 staff members, and I would say I've taught 5 or 6 of them myself, and 3 maybe have come already with a skill set, and I've just brushed that up a little bit. So going forward, hopefully we would be able to pick up a few more staff that have already a skill set, and I can, you know, help them along their way. But the way the industry is, I think a grassroots education is definitely the way forward.
So, Connor, we've heard about the shop. What about Hotheads Media? Where did that idea come from, and what made you go to YouTube for Hotheads Media?
Right. Well, Hotheads Media is my next adventure after doing everything else. One thing I feel I am is a bit of a geek in the industry. I love to know what everybody's doing. I like to be updated with like clipper releases. I like to know who's winning competitions. I just find that I'm really into hairdressing and barbering. I'm really into the industry. And like I was saying, I've got eight staff members, and I used to come in every day and I say to them, oh, have you seen this? Have you seen that? Have you seen this new clipper release? You know, different things like that. And every one of them would look at me like stark in the face and go, oh, I have no clue what you're on about.
Yeah, and they're not bothered.
No, they're literally like, and I'm like, how can you not see what I'm seeing? We're in the same industry. We work side by side. And I just thought, do you know what? If I work with these lads every single day and they haven't seen this news, these updates, who's won this competition, what clipper releases are out, different things like that, I wonder who else could not have seen this information. And for years, I've been toying with doing some sort of education within the industry. But as I've toyed with it, there's been different platforms that have started education, started doing online seminars, this and that. And I thought, if I start now, then I'm going to be 2 years behind anyway. And they're going to be then 2 years in front. So I thought this would be a great option for me doing Hotheads Media. I'm still educating the industry, but I'm doing it in a different way. I'm piecing all the things together in one easily digestible place. So you could put it on a Monday morning, you know, an hour after we record, and get all the week's news, updates, discounts, everything you need to know, like I say, in one easily digestible format. And yeah, that's basically the idea behind Hotheads Media.
I think it's amazing. Like when I found your channel, I was like, wow, this is brilliant, because I have to like rake around the internet looking for information, and to have it all just compacted once a week into, you know, a half hour or a 45-minute show is so easy. And I most barbers are off on a Monday. A lot are. I'm always off on a Monday, and I just put that on in the background while I'm doing my work, and you know, it's on. So I listen, and then if you're showing something, because sometimes you show things on screen, I'll come in and I'll have a look as well. I have YouTube Premium, so I can turn my phone off and listen, or if there's like something that you're demonstrating, then I'll come in and have a look and see what it is. And honestly, it makes it so much easier to find out what's going on.
I mean, that's exactly why we do it. And I thank you so much, because I really appreciate all the support you've been giving me and all the tips and advice, because it's really helping grow the channel. And
well, you know, it's no, absolutely, I'm happy to offer up anything, any help that I can. And, you know, it's a pleasure to watch and enjoy the channel. And what, you know, I've been on YouTube for a while, and I see, like, there was a few things that I learned, mistakes that I was making, real obvious mistakes, but nobody was telling me, you know, they would like, it took me ages to figure out. And, like when, I know I messaged you the other day, and I think we were talking about something. Something I used to do was I would be doing a tutorial, and I'd sum up what I was doing. I'd say, so that's how you cut the sides of a head of hair. And then I'd lose half the audience, because they think that's the end of the video, you know? So what I changed to doing was I'd say something.
You gave me,
yeah. So you can actually see it in a retention report from YouTube. You can see the audience left at that moment. So I changed to, instead of saying, you know, because it's quite important you cut the top of the head of hair as well. So I'd say, right, okay, we still have some really important information to tie the top into the sides and continue the video that way. So I think that's like a pitfall that a lot of YouTubers fall into, is they sum up their video right in the middle of the video or something like that. And it's such a simple, like, subtle little thing, but being aware of it, it's really important. You notice that the viewers on the video stay longer if you try and avoid, and sometimes it slips in. It's hard to not do it, you know. It's like subconscious.
That's it. I wasn't aware of it, and like you say, it's easily noticeable once you point it out to me. And I thought, what a great tip. And because I've scoured the internet for anybody doing anything like my channel, whether it's UK, Europe, America, and I can't find anybody doing the same sort of content that what I'm doing. And so I've got no reference to how to do this. I've got no guide or anything like that. So I'm kind of just all piecing it together, learning how to edit, learning how to use OBS Studio, different things like that. So like I say, just getting any bit of advice is really, really helpful for me.
Have you had any feedback? Do you get feedback from brands, or from, I know you quite often do like a section on Modern Barber, or any of the other sort of companies you talk about?
I'm not so much with brands, apart from the people I'm already working with, like Quartered Steels and Insight. I've been mainly contacted by a lot of, let's say, so-called big names in the industry or celebrity barbers, saying the exact same thing, that this is great. You've got great content. we love watching it, and just keep doing what you're doing. But I always do find that when you try and start something new, anybody who's kind of already at the top is really, really, they give a lot of support, and they really, really complimentary of anything you do. So I've found that I've been getting a lot of traction with that. Not so much, let's say, any of the magazines, let's not say anyone specifically, but I don't know if what I'm doing is directly competition for them. Because for me, I get Modern Barber, let's say, once a month. I get Barber Evo every quarter, and I get Hairdresser's Journal, Creative Head. I get all the big magazines. And what I've recently seen them do is all release newsletters, and that's a weekly thing. And I thought,
Yeah.
who wants to wait quarterly or monthly for all these magazines when they should be doing it weekly? They should be doing it daily, keeping the industry updated with everything they need to know. So I don't know if I'm direct competition for these big magazines and stuff, but the goal is to maybe work with some big brands and work with some magazines in the future.
Yeah, I think it would be very attractive for them if they saw your show and they would maybe want to sponsor the show.
Exactly.
Because you've taken what they're doing and you've delivered it faster.
Yeah,
that's the way I see it. Even a newsletter is not as good as video. Like, I think video is the best. That's how people want to digest information.
Well, who's got time really to sit and read any magazine? When I pick up these magazines, I flick through the articles and I look at the pictures. And some of the articles in there, people have taken their time to sit down, put it together, get the information, write it down, give their experience and knowledge, and people flick through to just see the pictures. So it's unfortunate that happens, but, you know, I definitely find this is definitely a niche that once any of the big names, brands or magazine do cotton on, it might be something for them to, you know, back really.
I mean, I'm not knocking any magazines. I've had some stuff published in Barber NV before.
Yeah.
And I think one of the other Barber magazines, and I was grateful for that at the time. But with magazines, I often think as well, it's a little bit, they have good contributors who contribute content, but sometimes they rely on them too much. And when you pick up the magazine, it's the same thing over and over. And I want to see something fresh. You know, I want to see, like you're doing Talent of the Week, and you're going and you're looking at different people, and I want to see that. You know, I want to see something new. I don't want to see the same face.
Unfortunately, you're completely right. Like, it seems to be the same subjects every couple of months, just wrapped up in a different package with the same people. And that's all I'm trying to do, is just shine a light on news a bit quicker, shout out people who don't get the spotlight on them because they're not doing what these other, let's say, magazines or industry want them to show off. So yeah, you know, I'm really enjoying it, what I'm doing, even if it doesn't lead anywhere.
I thought it was cool. I mean, you came into you shone the spotlight last week on Joanne Langton and Kelly Eagle, who are on Instagram, but they're also members of the 1 Minute Barber community, and I love that. It's people who are getting into the community. They're just into barbering, into the industry, and it's good to see like someone actually goes and gives them a shout out and like shines a light on their page and lets others see what they're doing, because it's hard to find. You know, you don't see anything unless Instagram decides to promote it half the time.
I find people often ask me the question, who inspires you in the industry? And there's a lot of big names in the industry that really inspire me, but predominantly it's the new barbers, you know, not necessarily the 16 to 18 year olds, because they can take a chance, but someone who's really willing to risk their career that they've already established, giving up everything to go and become a barber at 25 plus or 22 plus. You know, it's a risk. And when you're new to the industry, if I had a mentor, which I didn't until I found like Sid, if I had a mentor, I would have been 10 years ahead of where I am now. And it really, really inspires me, everybody joining the industry. Even if you are 16 to 18, that inspires me. But the ones who really, really like, get me going is the people who are slightly older, really risking everything to become a barber. And I just think it's fantastic.
It's admirable. It really is. And to make that change to something that you're going to enjoy more, and have the courage to do it. I mean, personally, I couldn't do an office job. I couldn't do an office job because I can't stare at numbers all day. I can't push. It's just something about it. I did accounting in school and I hated it. It wasn't for me. And with barbering, it's such a sociable job. It's creative. It's good hours, and I get the draw. I would definitely move over to barbering. Well, it depends on my job, I mean, if I was the manager of Manchester City, I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's all subjective.
Yeah, it depends on your situation. But it's, you get a lot of job satisfaction, I think. Every client can be job satisfaction.
It is an amazing career, Thankfully, we've both been in it for a number of years now, and I love this industry. It is amazing, but it is slightly ironic because I am now transitioning over to a desk job a little bit. I find myself editing quite a lot, sitting behind a desk, which I haven't done in 13 years, and different things like that. But I'm glad I've got like a little bit of a balance now. I can do a bit of this and a bit of that, and it's still creative. So
I actually think that really the way that the world's going, to promote yourself as a barber now, you do actually have to have a little bit of editing skill. If you want to promote on Instagram, everything's video now. It's you don't just see a picture anymore. You'll just scroll through video after video, and even a little bit of editing skill goes a long way. So I think every barber has to actually become an editor now to some extent, if they want to promote
100%.
themselves.
I did see a thing. I did share a post on my recent weekly update, and it was something suggesting like the Yardy barber era was over. And I thought that was really, really interesting because I grew up in trying to make a name for myself in the industry where every other competitor that was in my area were turning up late. The shop was like open till late at night. No one kept to appointment times and different things like that. And now you're seeing young lads under 20 or, 21, 22, creating these amazing reels, editing. Like, I'm in awe of some of these guys, and not just lads, obviously female barbers as well. And I'm in awe of these youngsters just making videos. And I'm in awe of anyone actually trying to get out there and do some editing and promote themselves, because like you've said yourself, it's so much more interactive making a video, creating a reel, rather than just putting a post out. And that's what you have to do. We are all fighting for different clients, and we are all fighting for our place within the industry, and something like a bit of editing skills goes a long way now.
Sure does. But I'm like you, I also get a little bit daunted by some of the stuff that I see. I see some reels going out and I think, oh my goodness, it looks like Steven Spielberg directed that,
I'm trying to keep up all of the time now.
Yeah. I mean, like I use a Canon M50 camera, which is kind of, in fact, I have it right here. It's just here. This is the camera I use. It's kind of like a middle of the road vlogging camera. It's a few years old now. And I feel like the quality is quite good, but sometimes I look at a barber reel and I'm like, what did they film that on? That's like a Hollywood standard camera, and they have the most amazing background. Everyone likes a plant, a green plant with big leaves in the background.
Yeah, it looks great.
And I'm like, I need to get a green plant as well now, and some cool light in there.
What's funny is I can often think this camera has been professionally taken, and I find out it's been done on the brand new iPhone.
An iPhone, yeah.
So I definitely think it's about what editing skills and photography skills you've got. And any new barber coming into my shop, I say, you have to do this. You have to learn that. You have to be posting. The more confident you get, the more you post, the better you're going to get. And like I say, I'm still trying to keep up with them.
I follow a channel on YouTube called Think Media, and they say this all the time. Their motto is just hit record, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's bad initially. You're going to learn a lot of lessons from it, and just hit record, put it out there. And if you're not happy, you'll know what you're not happy about, and you'll learn more for the next one. You know?
Yeah. Like I've learned a lot just doing this YouTube channel myself. I've recorded my first videos, and there were so many things that went wrong that I look back now, and I think I was a little bit ashamed of it when I first started putting them out. I was going, this is not good enough, that's not good enough. But as I progress now each week, I look back at it and I see how far I've come. And I often do that with my Instagram. I look back down at some of the posts I have at the very bottom, and I'm thinking, I've come a long way in such a short period of time. I've surrounded myself with great people who inspire me to be better each day. Every step I take forward brings new people into my life, which give me better advice and, you know, better content for things I'm doing. And you do have to keep pushing forward, but it is great to see sometimes how far you have come.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like for us, the learning thing for us now, I mean, I've got quite a good grasp of video, but we're kind of trying to develop the online academy, the 1 Minute Barber Academy, into something a really amazing like place to be, and package it all up. And I'm like you now, I'm trying to look for feedback all the time, and we're trying to find what's missing and what can we implement all the time. So new to me, it's like
going out also on my channel. I just want to say, if you haven't had a look at the 1 Minute Barber Academy, it's, you know, and this is a bit of feedback for yourself, I am loving it. The community you have there is incredible. It's got some great learning tutorials. My favorite bit about it is the quiz. I know it sounds a bit geeky, but I love the quizzes. I've been actually showing some of my staff some of the quizzes, and some are, you know, just bones of the head and stuff like that. You know, I think it's a great platform. It's easy to use. Everyone on there seems like they really, really just want to learn. And I don't find it's just for beginners. Like yourself, I find some of the quizzes, I haven't got 100% on all of the quizzes. And I'm like, maybe I need to go back to school.
Connor, you know, I was chatting to one member initially, Thomas Perry, and he was saying that it would be really of benefit to him that if the content was accredited for a barber license in America. So I started looking into that, and I downloaded the test. It was a bunch of tests for accreditation in the United States. Yeah. And let me tell you, it blew my mind. I admire anyone who has a barber license in the United States.
I hear it's tough.
Oh man, it goes so in depth. I mean, it's going so in depth into, you know, absolutely everything. It's so comprehensive. Quite honestly, I think we need something like that here. I think, you know, certainly on a health and safety level in shops, I think there should be something that some kind of accreditation.
This is an issue.
Go on. Think? No, I just think that at the very minimum, if you have some kind of health and safety standard in every shop, you have that standard there, and you say, okay, well, this place is clean and it's safe and good to cut hair. Whether they're any good at cutting hair or not, that's for the client to judge. You know, they can go away. They might get a bad haircut. They might get a good haircut, but they're not going to get ill, you know, and they can go to another shop or whatever. But I think just at the bare minimum in the industry, there should be some kind of health and safety standard.
Yeah, it is an issue I raise all the time on the channel. It comes up so often, you know, you wouldn't believe. And, you know, legislation and regulation is, you know, such a hot topic at the moment. And like you just said, to get accredited as a barber in America is just, you have to go through so much. And you can't even touch somebody's head in the US without wearing a pair of gloves. Now, thankfully I went through doing a hairdressing apprenticeship, and you have to have I have got NVQ level 3 in hairdressing and NVQ level 2 in barbering, because that's the highest one you can get. And actually some of the stuff you go through with that is great. Now, you learn a lot and you really go through the health and safety principles. You know, you go through everything you need to know to be accredited and to be safe on the shop floor. But when it comes to barbering, all you have to do is have insurance to be on the shop floor. And actually, I know a lot of barbers that don't even have like public liability. So the question you raised is definitely we need, even if it's just some sort of hygiene level, you know, like even like a good food hygiene where they go around and rate different barbershops, even something like that, which is basic, would be a good indicator to how well the shop is running.
You know, Connor, I think that's absolutely crazy to think that an insurer would insure anybody when they don't have a single qualification to their name, no experience or anything. You can just get that insurance and start. It's a real failing from the UK government, I think.
Yeah, and as a hairdresser, you have to have level 2, NVQ level 2 to get insurance. But a barbers, you don't have to anything. You don't have to have anything. But that's not down specifically to the insurers. That's down to the government and the legislation and the regulations. If insurance companies can make money and sell insurance doing it legally, I can understand why they do it. But yeah, you're completely right. It seems absurd and something needs to change.
I had a chat a few years ago with Mike Taylor about this because he's quite hot on this as well. And
Yeah.
he'd said to me that, because I'm not always aware of the figures, but he said there's 3 million people in the UK who are working in hair and beauty. And his opinion was, and it may have changed, but his opinion at the time was that the government were afraid of implementing legislation because of the potential unemployment it could cause. They need to just get over that, I think.
Yeah. We need to look at not where we are now as an industry, but where we're going to be in 10 or 15 years. And a lot of the issue was raised that, well, what happens if you've had 15 years of experience on the floor? Or what happens if you've had 10 years of experience on the floor? Does that not count for anything? And it's definitely a hot topic, and it's definitely something that needs to be addressed. And I think having in a governing body, not even necessarily the National Hairdressers and Barbers Federation, because I do think, as much as I like them, they are slightly more hairdressing associated. We need something like an association for barbers that campaign on our behalf as a specific industry, not just hairdressing and barbering. And I think that would definitely make the government aware of what we need. And I think we have to look forward now. In the next 10 years, in the next 15 years, we need to be where the Americans are 10 years ago. You know, that's where we need to be heading.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a standard to aim for, but we'll just have to hope that hope that the politicians want to do something about it.
Yeah, even myself, like Hotheads Media, like things like this can be addressed weekly. And I myself, if anybody actually does watch this, I would love to campaign on the behalf of the barbering industry, or be one of the members that does put forward points relative to our industry, and just see if we can start raising awareness and bringing the level up from where we are now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, you know, more power to you, Connor. And I think that's just the way to go. Someone needs to do it.
Yeah,
I know there's a few people pushing, but you're actually very much more in the public eye on YouTube as well now. So, you know, I just hope that you can get some momentum behind you on that.
That's it. Hopefully raise the channel, build the channel, and then we can start bringing core issues like this to people who can do something about it.
Yeah. Well, Connor, I'm gonna ask you one more question, and then we are gonna go to the fun 60-second quiz about you.
Perfect.
So, last question is, what does the future hold for you right now?
Predominantly, we're just about to expand the shop. We're going to put another couple more chairs in here. So my core business is always hairdressing, so I need to do that. Need to focus on that, and then grow the channel over the next couple of years. I really want to start gaining the subscribers. gaining a foothold within the industry and making Hotheads Media the go-to destination for all things barbering, hairdressing and business, where you can get weekly updates and get all the relevant information and news.
Brilliant. Okay, Connor, right, so let's go for I'm going to wrap up with the 60-second interview.
Right.
Have you prepared answers for this?
I haven't. So I had a quick look at the questions, but
okay.
no, I haven't prepared answers. So,
okay, right. You ready? Question number 1. What's your favorite hobby or pastime?
Training my Muay Thai or hitting the gym.
Okay. Do you prefer tea or coffee?
Oh, it's got to be coffee all day long.
Yeah, me too. What's the best vacation you've ever been on?
I went to Vegas working a few years ago, and even though it was working, it was incredible.
Did you win big?
I didn't even bet.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a gambler.
No, me neither. If you could have dinner with anyone famous, who would it be?
For me, it's got to be Vidal Sassoon.
Oh man, he's a legend, you know. I mean,
yeah, he's a pioneer in hairdressing.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. I would love to have dinner with him. Have you seen the documentary?
Yeah, I've seen the documentary. I've got so many books. I think it's a core principle of my life is the Sassoon education. So to meet somebody like that, you know, the pioneer of the Sassoon world, you know, that would be incredible for me.
All right, what's your favorite go-to comfort food?
Oof. Sausage and mash, maybe.
with gravy?
Oh, yeah, definitely with gravy. My mum used to put onions in it when I was a kid. I haven't had that for a while, but maybe something like
that. What book or movie has greatly influenced you?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Robert Kiyosaki, great book.
Yeah, Richest Man in Babylon. And I've recently just finished an incredible book. I finished it last week, and it was How Not to Give a Fuck, or I think that's what the title's called. It was incredible anyway. Yeah.
What's one thing on your bucket list?
Hit 1 million subscribers.
That's a good one. That's on mine too. Well, Connor, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. I really appreciate you chatting, and I know everyone in the community will appreciate seeing this video as well and getting your backstory. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, Mike. I really appreciate it.